Hello, my name is John Reynolds. On this episode of Extraordinary Life Stories, I'm talking with Charlie Cadbury. Charlie is a serial entrepreneur working in tech for over 20 years. He's pioneered working with voice and is now CEO of Say It Now, which is a specialist technology company that helps brands take advantage of opportunities created by consumers shifting to conversational channels. He's spent the majority of his career exploring the opportunities presented by emerging tech. With this in mind, I'm interested to discuss the disruption AI is causing and how he's embracing this with his business interests. As a dad of 3, I'm keen to know how he juggles being an entrepreneur and juggling family and life, something I'm constantly striving to achieve. I'm really looking forward to talking with Charlie. Charlie, welcome.
Great to be here.
Tell me, who is Charlie Cadbury?
So I'm actually a 9-year-old boy trapped in an aging body. I'm kind of curious, but
It's a good way to be.
Well, I think, kind of day to day, a lot of people know me. I'm the co-founder CEO of a company called Say It Now, which is an ads tech business. We work with brands to give them a voice. What we do is we allow people to engage with audio and TV advertising using Alexa. So imagine you're at home listening to the radio or watching the TV. The ads come on. One of the ads says, "Tonight is pizza night, and I'd love to give you 50% off your pizza tonight. To claim your coupon, just say, Alexa, open Pizza Hut." Alexa would say, "Would you like me to send a coupon to your phone to claim that discount?" You say, "Yup." That coupon arrives on your phone and you continue watching the TV or listening to the radio. But at the same time, Pizza Hut then log into our data studio. They can see exactly when those ads have been served, when people are engaging with them. So they can then kind of turn up the ads that are working, kind of on TV or radio at certain times of day, or turn down the ads that aren't working, and that makes the media spend go faster. So this is quite exciting.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the beginning and then come back to that.
Sure.
What got you into this? What did you want to be when you were growing up?
So when I was 8 years old, my mother drove into the driveway in the coolest car that I'd ever seen in my life. It was a burgundy Austin Maestro.
Right.
And in the middle of this Austin Maestro, there was a little thing in the dashboard which said voice synthesis system. And you could press a button and it would say average fuel consumption. And this was exciting to me because I was a big fan of a show called Knight Rider with Hoff. The Hoff. And he was talking to his car. Exactly. And so, looking back, I now see, Kit, which was the talking car, was an autonomous vehicle with a smart speaker built in that he could talk to. And I now know that it was cloud-based because I saw a picture of Michael Knight talking to his smartwatch. So, Kit was actually in the cloud, not in the car. And so, this was exciting. It got me into kind of a world where I was interested in technology. Both my parents were, they had their own businesses. They were accountants, and I could see my mother was always into using new technologies. When I was 10 years old, I was doing data entry on SuperCalc 4, taking people's kind of day books and doing that kind of manual data entry. And so I was always looking at kind of the new technologies which are coming through, and that was the genius of this all, I think.
So how did you get into that, from the inspiration of Knight Rider to then ultimately becoming an entrepreneur? Because you weren't taught any of this at school. That's not in the curriculum. So what's the journey and how did you pioneer to ultimately get to where you are now?
So I was never really an academic. It was was something that I was told to do, and I went there. And then I was at the end of my kind of A levels, I was told to look, what are you most interested in, Charlie? And that's the subject you should go into university. So I was most interested in biology. I was like, how does this all work, right? And so I then started biology, and it wasn't very exciting at university. It was I couldn't see any kind of real world applications to this.
You couldn't connect career to what you were learning.
No, exactly. And I ended up not finishing that degree.
Fair enough.
And but staying around in Oxford, I got a job selling IT equipment, so selling network infrastructure. And so that was quite good. And I worked out that I was able to sell. I was kind of building up some cash, and I thought, this is great. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to live in Oxford. But then I thought maybe there's something else. So I bought a bicycle instead. I took this bike and I cycled up to Harwich, and then over to Europe, and then I cycled down to Morocco and spent 4 months kind of.
Sounds like Forrest Gump. You got on the bike and just didn't stop.
Kind of, that was and it was fun. I was on my own. Kind of 3 main reasons to get kind of physically fit. I'd been eating a lot of baguettes and drinking a lot of beer and putting on a bit of weight, and so I wanted to also kind of get to know the neighbours. I said I was taking 4 months off. All my friends were like, why don't you go to Southeast Asia and South America? I was like, how about I go to Spain and France, and get my French and Spanish up. That kind of worked, and spent a bit of time working out, who I wanted to be, where I wanted to go.
What age are you at this point?
I was 24 at that point.
Yeah,
And so then I came back, moved to London, and there was an old school friend, and he was like, Charlie, you've always said we can start a business together. Like, what should we do? And so I was like, okay, well, let's make money in interesting and exciting ways, which is really, really naive and stupid. But we called this business Stockbury. We had an awful lot of fun. We bought a speed dating franchise called X Factor Dates that we ran for 3 years in the W postcode in London. So kind of running we started off running 1 event a month, grew that to 8 events a month, kind of 50 people each time. That was fun. Got us to learn about how to drive people to online, and ended up setting up had a few different business ideas that started and failed. Had a media business putting advertising on water cooler bottles, but ended up starting a web business, right? A web design and build business, and grew that organically from kind of 2 founders up to a 45-person team. And so building first websites, then Facebook applications, then mobile phone app. So kind of 2008, the iPhone launched, and about a year later, the App Store launched. And it was like, okay, brilliant, we can build apps now. There was a huge kind of gold rush. And so I oversaw the kind of build of about 350 digital products from contract to code. So got a really good understanding about, and I suppose to sell that many kind of projects and work with that many clients and teams, I probably saw about 1,000, 1,500 ideas. People like, oh, what can we do with this new technology? What can we do with mobile? What can we do with social? I think it was a really good kind of breeding ground for my curious mind about, okay, what is the application of these new technologies?
Interesting. You mentioned new technologies.
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
So bring it back to where you were when you first introduced yourself. How is that affecting what you're doing now? And do you see it as a positive or negative or both?
So I've been working with Alexa now, kind of, or specifically only in voice since 2014.
Sure.
And so I read a book by a guy called Daniel Priestley called The Key Person of Influence.
I've read that book.
It's a great book, right? And so because the agency business, building mobile apps for other people, it was always an agency, so you only kind of live and die by your last quarter. So there was never any IP being built. There was never a big exit. And so I thought, well, if I was going to do something next, how do I build a layer of technology and capture the value of people's move to voice? And then we'll build this IP and exit. And that's the kind of the journey that we're on at the moment. So 2014 started to look at Alexa and what we could do with this new paradigm. People could be able to talk back to the air around them. Amazon and Google talk about this as kind of ambient computing. No longer you have to access the internet through your screen. You're free to kind of talk to the air around you, and that was really exciting. And people are like, how is this going to play into your life in the future? What do I need a smart speaker? Do I need an assistant? And it's less about the smart speaker, it's more about the assistant. And if you think of these intelligent assistants that can take the mundane tasks away from you, then you can do more with your life. So, I know that Alexa is getting better and better. Amazon announced last week that they're incorporating large language models like ChatGPT style thinking and technology.
So they're linking
into Alexa, so that you're going to have more expansive, more beautiful, more natural conversations. And you're going to build your trust with these assistants and be able to delegate tasks. So
can you tailor it? Do you think that's what's coming? Tailoring to almost the individual? To
the individual, or kind of to the brand, if you want to have a branded message. That's what our technology is built to have, these kind of expansive conversations from a brand. So if you want to talk to BT, they need to exist in this environment. That's what we built. But the real test for me is when I can say, Alexa, can you book a restaurant for my wife and I for Friday night, and can you also book a babysitter, knowing that they'll be able to complete those tasks, and that then gives me back 10 minutes of my day, and more of this. So that my view for the future, on my 70th birthday, I've got 3 kids. They'll be there with their other halves. I'll be maybe have some grandkids at that point, right? And I can I'm on a good path right now. My 70th birthday right now would be great. We'd have a great party. I'd tell some good stories, but with an assistant, right, knowing that over the next kind of 30 years, they're going to be doing more and more for my life, I'm going to tell greater stories about a greater life lived, right? So the things that will be possible will, at the moment, I'm missing out on serendipitous opportunities to go and have weekends or holidays with friends because I forgot to, phone them up and kind of synchronize diaries. In the future, our assistants might have a chat and go, hey, Charlie, this weekend's free, and actually Will's free this weekend, and you both wanted to go to Sardinia together, and there's a special on. should I book that for you? And that these kind of things will happen, and more of my life will
I've
become
never thought
richer.
of that before. Yeah.
And this is kind of an exciting kind of AI optimistic,
Which is a
view.
Positive. Back to my question. I mean, that is huge. I mean, juggling family, business, life, having time to go away. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Actually, if you can integrate personalised use of the AI, it's a massive benefit.
It was huge, and this is stepping quite quickly now. So Meta actually just this week have released their new glasses, and you can talk to their AI. So they're bringing out an AI you can talk to, live stream to your Instagram through your glasses. This is new.
Wow.
Amazon last week released their kind of Alexa glasses, so you can walk around the world with access to all of your digital products and services. Your email, booking restaurants, all that. In a hands-free way, so you can just walk down the street and say, actually, look, Alexa, what meetings do I have today? Can you push that one back and send a message to this person over here? All of this is giving more utility in a frictionless way to you as an individual, because we can talk at about 150 words a minute, some a bit faster, and you can only type into your phone about 50 words a minute. So it's easier to get stuff done. And all this is giving time back to your life, and that's our most precious commodity.
I mean, you've been, 20, 25 years as innovator in tech. This must be the most exciting time you've seen, and you've got to stay right on the wave, right? If you're raising capital or you're creating an opportunity in business at the moment based on the now, you've got to have some foresight and some vision of where things might be going, or you're going to be left behind in a year, let alone 2 years, 3 years. You haven't done anything like that.
But luckily, I'm the best that I've ever been, right? So I kind of joke a bit, but the last business we ran kind of an agile and lean methodology, and that's all about kind of build, test, learn, and it's actually the way that every business and individual runs their life. I go out today. We're having a great chat. I'm learning from you. I'm going to have another 10 great conversations today, which means tomorrow I'm better than I am today, and in 6 months' time, I'm way better than I am today. Right? If I look back at myself 6 months ago, I was a child in comparison to the man I am today. And so during all this time,
seeking growth all the time.
It's compound interest, right? So so it's all compounding. The more conversations you have, it's all kind of stacks on top of each other. There's a great quote by a guy called Gregory Surzek, who's kind of popularized by Tim Ferriss, and he says, "Easy choices, hard life; hard choices, easy life," and it all plays into this kind of this idea of compound interest. If you go and have 2 meetings a day and spend your day watching TV, that's an easy life, right? But it's an easy choice. You're going to have a hard life. If you make hard choices, you get out there, you try and do the things which are hard, which is a lot of things right now. Life is hard, but you sprinkle it with fun, and it becomes hard but fun, right? That's why I kind of look at things. Then you compound interest, and all those things, whether it's kind of choosing the stairs rather than the lift, or choosing to invest and save some money rather than go to that restaurant, or going to have kind of conversations with people and try and push forward what you're trying to do, and you're learning, your curiosity. I've now kind of got a load of kind of advisors and really, really good network around me that keep me informed, and having built that, that's how we're going to stay ahead. But I'm going to do all of this way better tomorrow. I
love that. I can feel the positive energy just like exuding from you. I imagine that attracts you to all sorts of positive people, and you're pulling everyone up. That growth mentality, that desire, that curiosity that you mentioned at the beginning.
Well, I think
it rubs off. It's rubbing off on me.
For me, it attracts luck. Whenever I'm like talking the other day, oh geez, like this. That I told the story of business. I'm constantly pitching to investors. I spend like half my time kind of raising money, half my time on sales, half my time on kind of business strategy, and half my time managing.
That's already 2 people.
Well, I feel like I run out of time. It's hard, but it's quite a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned hard. There's a lot of people suffering with getting the balance right, being positive, staying positive. We're actually filming in the Jack studio. Just ask a question. What's your thoughts on Jack?
Jack's like an amazing resource, and I think it's amazing that the model is to keep it out free. You can ask any question. Like we were talking just before. How could you ask any question, possibly using through an assistant, and get to that wealth of insight and understanding that the idea that you've got lots and lots of different experts that can talk to different situations you might find yourself in, because sometimes we need to call a friend, and sometimes you don't have that friend, and it feels like that's the problem that it's well solving.
No, that's well articulated. And relevant to you, what do you do to keep physically and mentally fit? Because I can feel the positive vibe. You look like you keep fit. What actually works is there's so many options, from ice baths to yoga to breathing exercises. Love to know.
So between my agency business and where I am today, I had a kind of a life-changing kind of transitionary period. There was kind of a 6-month period where I just had twin boys. My mum died, and then I had my daughter, and then I walked away from this business I've been working with for 7 years because I didn't believe we were building any value. So in order to kind of reset myself, I set up a consultancy. I changed the pace of my life. I was called a fast-moving problem solver. I was like, right, let's just take a step back. And I started.
How long ago was this? Sorry,
it was 2015. And so I started. I joined ClassPass. I started doing kind of classes, yoga HIIT with classes all over London. I've got a Headspace subscription. I started doing 10 minutes kind of mindfulness every day, and that was really, really good kind of reset and to work out what I needed both in my body and my mind. And during that process, there was something that Andy said, on Headspace, and he said, look, what you could do every day is you need to find the time to take a few mindful breaths, find something to focus on and take a few mindful breaths. And what that will give you is direct access to that mindful state where you stop being high adrenaline, high cortisol. You re-engage your rest and digest state. And then you can make conscious decisions rather than just running around like a maniac on autopilot. And that can, those conscious moments can be great. And so I then went online. I was like, cool, I need to find something to focus on, which is going to help me have these mindful moments. And it didn't exist, right? So I had this idea about creating what ended up becoming the Moment Pebble, which is a physical device that you keep in your pocket. You take out a few times a day. You tap 3 times, and it glows, and as it gets brighter, as it gets brighter, you breathe in, and it gets darker, you breathe out. And so for 30 seconds, you have 4 mindful breaths, and you put it in your pocket. You carry it with your day. You have and that those during that kind of exploration, I kind of went through a big accelerator course and put myself, and actually took my wife, because we're going on this journey together, through a mindful-based stress reduction course. And so that gives me some of the kind of the mental tooling. I was actually talking about it with my wife last night. That was when we started thinking about this concept of metacognition. So how can I think about how I'm thinking so that I think better, right? It ladders, but it's kind of handy. So that's good. And then like a daily kind of hygiene during COVID. One of the things that stuck, I was finding that all of my arguments in my life, anywhere, business, home, anywhere, it misaligned expectations. And so what was happening during COVID, I was working from home, the kids were being homeschooled, and I was getting hardly anything done. And the kids would say, Daddy, you're always working. And so it's this hugely kind of misaligned kind of lived experience. And so I was like, I need to get some more time in my life. Where is the time? Oh, it's before everyone wakes up. So I started waking up really early and going for a run, and then coming back and having what I call the golden hour. So an hour of work where there's no emails pinging in, because I'm a monkey. I like responding.
What's really early?
Or really early for me is just before 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So I know when the seasons are changing. It's getting dark right now. So just before 6 o'clock, I'm back by 6:30. I work until 7:30 in the kitchen, and I'm really, really good at kind of structuring the day at that point. It gets me ahead of the day, and I've kept that up.
Do you know what? I can parallel that. And it is awesome. It just feels like you sort of won the morning, you can win the day. A bit of a cliche, but you've just got that time. You've got yourself set up, got a workout done, got some fresh air, whatever it might be. And you're better for it for the rest of the day.
Totally. And I wear a Whoop, and they've just done a ChatGPT tie, and I was playing around with it. I was like, well, what can I do to make my days better? It says the days where you exercise within 3 hours of waking up are your best days. Just those little insights that are great. And then we've got a new advisor that came into the business last year, and he's a brilliant comms expert, and tells me, this brilliant, very simple advice. I'm like, Charlie, what are the 3 most important things you're doing today? What are the 3 most important things on that? It's such a simple but brilliant framing of thoughts. And so usually on my run, I don't take my headphones. I don't. It's just me and my thoughts. And on the way to the river and back, I think about the 3 things I need to do within my golden hour. All right, and then as long as I do those 3 things, it makes you think about the 100 things you've got to do and prioritize just the top 3 most impactful things.
Yeah.
Then I'm framed and I've got them away before 7:30, and then I now walk to work and I walk again with my phone in my pocket, looking up at the trees, cycling through my thoughts. And it's a 20-minute walk to work. And by the time I get there, I think about just the 3 most important things that I need to do that day, right? So if I only ever do 6 things a day, that's still quite good, but they're the most impactful things.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of put some calm in what otherwise might be quite
chaos,
a messy mind.
Especially because you've got different business interests going. You've got 3 kids, young kids. You're staying present. You're staying current, and actually there's a goal setting element to that as well. By setting those 3 targets, if you like. I'm interested to take you back to the other sort of more chaotic years. Did you set goals? Did you journal? Did you write things down?
No, I mean, it's like, during my 20s, you think you know it all, and it turns out I didn't, right? And so, we kind of a whole load of learning by mistakes, right? Rather than learning through experience. And during that time, I put myself on an accelerator course with called the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses, which is fantastic and transformational. And at the end of that, I was like, oh my God, that you see in Matrix, I know Kung Fu. It's like, oh, I know a little bit more about running my business. Maybe that analogy is a bit of a leap. Anyway, so that was fun. And I came out the back of that. I was like, cool, how do I learn from other people's experience rather than making my mistakes? And that's when I hired my first chairman. Hired my first chairman, and then started, to have that kind of advisors around me, really looking up for where can I get this learning from to shortcut rather than trying to make these mistakes on my own.
I love that, because you're basically making the point that you tried and failed many times to be where you are now. And there's a lot of talk and a lot of people that are afraid of failure, and therefore they won't even try. You are the epitome of it sounds like just get on with it. And actually, you pivot, you learn, and that's how you ultimately keep moving, keep momentum.
Yeah, but I have convictions. I hold them with a soft grip. I'm very happy to be right until I'm wrong. Right? It's like I make decisions when I'm 70% sure that they're right, which means I'm very happy that I'm wrong 30% of the times. But that means I try more, I fail more, I learn more. That's it.
Sitting here now, how would you define success?
It's happiness, I think. The one arbiter is how happy are you? I was having a conversation with my stepmother the other day, and I was like, look, this is ultimately a conversation about happiness. Like this is the things that you might or might not want to do. And if we have this chat in 6 months' time, we want to talk about how this might have changed your happiness, right? Because otherwise it's busyness,
Yeah. That's a great answer. One thing, back to the AI conversation, deep fake, voice and video. So that's relevant to Jack's, relevant to your business. How much of a threat is that to, and by deep fake, I mean that imitation of. So, Charlie, the respected Charlie, is about to do a talk, and all of a sudden it's something awful, offensive, and so it's not you. How are you going to protect your business from that side of AI?
Our business is relatively secure. We work with best of breed AI services that kind of pop into our platform. So, for example, if we've got the first part of our audio creation, we can create an audio ads on the fly. So you put in a paragraph of what you want your campaign to achieve. It then automatically spins up the script for that audio ads. It then creates the voice that it thinks you need in order to get that message across. It creates the music line and then spits out a 30-second audio ad that's good enough to go and run that campaign. But all of that is done with the right kind of copyrights and permissions.
Sure.
So there's technology that can imitate your voice and your kind of likeness and create an avatar of you. And the important thing is to make sure that it has your consent to do that. And then it's a great opportunity for you to then profit for other people using your likeness. And that's really, really great. I think there's a huge opportunity for kind of nefarious actions for people to imitate what someone else is saying, and that's trying to be locked down right now. And I think that's the quite high on the priority of all the whole kind of the big major tech players, because if they lose your trust, then you won't go back and you'll swap over to another. And I think what's moving forward now is that, you know, the way that you engage with all of their own assistants. So Apple wants you to use Siri, and Google wants you to use Hey Google. Amazon wants you to use Alexa, and you know, Facebook have now brought out their Met AI, right? They want you to engage with Met. So you're going to have all these assistants to choose from. The minute you choose one and that starts to deliver utility, like, you know, you've chosen a phone, you've chosen an iPhone, so you're relatively locked in. So Apple are going to have more and more of a sway on your life. And if you start to use Siri, then that's going to have more and more of a sway on your life, and they can profit off that. But in order for you to be happy to use these platforms, you have to deeply trust that they're, you know, working in your best interests. And ultimately that they're delivering you loads and loads of utility. You know, people, you know, I've been working voice for 8 years now, and people are like, oh, is Alexa always listening? Is Alexa always listening? I'm
Big
like,
brother.
Yeah, I'm like, you're carrying a phone. Like, that is like got potential to listen to you and follow you around, but you forget, and you're very, very, like, there's nothing your phone can do wrong, right? If I take it away, like, you'll be unhappy. And it's because it delivers you
love-hate relationship.
It's got such vast utility, right? You know, and you know, your life is so much easier with it.
I know, I agree with that. I've learned loads talking to you. Do you like a positive vibe coming across, and your knowledge of everything voice, AI? Thank you so much for sharing that, Charlie.
It's really easy. It's a sunny Friday morning.
Yeah, very true. Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks very much.